Hey guys, Stephen here from Heresy Academy. So this episode we're going to work on the animations, and we're going to do a walk animation and an idle animation. We're not really going to have an actual jump animation that's going to be distinctively jumping, but we will set up the idle for jump as well, so we will technically do a jump animation too. So first things first, I want to go over to my astronaut, and we set it up in one of the previous videos as a multiple sprite, and so you've got these other two parts here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open it up in the sprite editor, just to give us a bit more organization. So, yeah. This one on the right hand side, this has got his right foot forward. So, we'll call it astro underscore right. And then this one's got his left foot forward. So this one can be astro underscore left. This is just, for naming purposes. It's not really the most major thing to do right now because you can distinctively see which one's which. But if you had like a sprite sheet of like 20 different images and you want to make sure you know that these are going to be like your walk animations, these are going to be jump and everything like that, you can have it all into one sprite sheet and name it that way. But this is what I'm going to do now just for purposes, just for like our animation. So the way I'm going to set it up with the walking animation is I'm going to set it to do this frame, and then say the right foot, and then this frame, and then that foot, and then this frame, and then that foot, sort of thing. So I'm going to use 4 sprites, and every time it's going to resort back to being idle, then the next foot, then idle, the next foot. So I'm going to click apply there. And what I'm going to do straight away, and just save it, just in case you fancy saving it. You see I've got astro idle, astro left, and astro right. So what I want to do is I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call this animations. And in this folder, I'm going to create an animator controller. And this is going to be our player. Now we may set up different animations and have different controllers set up for like enemies or an actual sprite just spinning, stuff like that. But for now we're just going to work on the player. So if we open this up, double click it, and it brings up our animator here, and we don't have any animations, which is quite strange really. So I'm going to go up to my window, and I'm going to open up on the window animation, which is also control and 6. It's going to come up as a a separate window. So I'm just going to drag it down. I've dragged it down to where the game is, and I'm going to click on player. So now you see it's highlighted the player, and in here it says to begin animating player, create an animator and an animation clip. So I'm going to click on create, and I'm going to go over to my animations folder here, and the first one I'm going to make is just going to be idle. I'm going to type in idle, and it'll save it as idle.anim, which is the Unity animations. Now you may see here you've got player 1 and player, because it automatically brings in a player control, an animation controller. So I'm just going to get rid of that, because I'm going to use this one instead, the one that I've already made. It doesn't make too much of a difference, it's not a major issue. As you can see now, on the player item, it's added an animated component, and now the controller has none. So I'm just going to drag my player one over here and do everything in that. So if you don't do it that way, it will assign one and it will work in that anyway. So I may have just lost my animation there for some reason. Not too sure what I've just done. So over here in the animation, to begin animating player, create an animation clip. So I've just created one. I seem to have lost it, so perhaps I've just deleted the wrong thing. So click on create again. I'll just overwrite the anim over there. Save, do you want to replace it? Yes. There we go. So inside the idle animation here, I'm just going to grab our sprite, just the astronaut, and just drag the idle in. Make sure obviously it's at the beginning. It doesn't make a difference because you just click play, nothing happens. It's just the one sprite. We don't need to put 2 in or anything like that. So we can save our projects at the moment now, and then where it says idle here with the menu, I'm going to click create a new clip, or create a new clip. and this one is going to be our walking. So now for the walking one, like I said, I'm going to grab my idle, and then I'm going to grab the right, drag it just about there. The timing on these may change. We may decide we want to do it a bit differently and stuff like that, but we'll sort that out later. So then we're going to go for the left. So like I said, what I've got here now, I've got the idle, then the right foot, then the idle, then the left foot, and then it's going to get over to the end and go idle, right foot, idle, left foot. So you can click on play, but you see the floor check is actually in the way. So now I can just change that off to there. So you see how it's sort of, it works, but it's not very good. What you can do with this, you can just sort of pause it, change the frame rate so it takes a bit longer to play, but still it jumps around a bit. Yeah, just checking that there. Oh, cancel that, sorry. If you are going to do anything in here, make sure you press this to turn off the recording, because when these are red, anything you change becomes part of the animation. So turn that off, and you can move it around and stuff like that. Let me pause. Sorry about that. So what we can do now, like I said, we can lower the frame rate, even put it down to 10, and then you can see how it spreads out a bit, and just sort of drag these over a bit more. This over, and then go and find the other one. I'll drag this over to about there. I mean, to be fair, you could literally just like drag them two right next to each other and stuff like that. But we'll try and give them a bit of spacing, and then press play. That now looks a bit more smoother. We won't really be able to decide exactly how we want it to play until we start moving it around and stuff, which we can't do just yet. So again, I'm going to save the project, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create one more. I'm going to call this jump, but like I said, I'm going to use the idle animation again just for the jump, because I haven't set up an idle image, a jump image. So basically, it's rather than have when it jumps, I don't want it to be having like one leg forward or stuff like that. It'll serve its purpose for helping you set it up anyway. So what I want to do now, as you'll see, I've opened up that animator now, which you opened before. And inside the animator, because I set it up now, it's using the player one, it's got the idle, jump and walking. They're already in here. So, let me try and talk you through this a bit. Let's see if I can drag this out. Just trying to see if I can give a bit more space. Yeah, we don't really need too much, but anyway. So, here we've got entry, and there should actually be another red one, exit, but we don't need to worry about exit. So for entry, this is basically as soon as when we start, or when the animator is called. So basically when we start the game, because it's attached to the object that's already in there. The first animation that plays will be idle. This is going to be the default state. I say state because if you right click, you can create a state, an empty, or blend tree, stuff like that. But we'll go into blend trees and stuff at another point. We're saying this is how we refer to our animations. But you may also take note that they are also referred to as a motion as well. So if I say state or if I say motion and we talk about animations, these are what I mean. Because this is a state. Idle is a state. And this is my default state. So no matter what, as soon as it starts, it will play the idle animation. Which is going to be absolutely no different to having no animators, because we're using the idle sprite. So what we want to do, I'm just going to move the jump to above any state, because I want to work with the walking at the moment. So what I can do is I want to right click and make transition, and just click over here now on walking. It creates this arrow. And the same for the walking. I want to right click and click make transition. And you see you can drag this over here. I want to drag it to the idle, because what this means now is when we give it a condition. When we go over here, it's got list is empty. When I give it a condition and that condition is met, it will move from the idle to the walking. And then very much the same, when the condition is met for the walking to the idle, it will change to that. Now to trigger the jump, you could do it coming from either one, and this is just the same, so I can make transitions go like that, make transitions go like that. But rather than doing that, I'm going to move it over here. Because I can access jump in absolutely any state, I'm going to right click and make a transition to jump. Now, from our jump, sorry, I'm moving the wrong one. From the jump, once we've completed the jump and we've landed, I want to go back to idle, you see? So, you can probably zoom out a bit or try and make a bit more space. You can sort of see you make a bit of a loop. So you make a loop with the idle to the walking. That's consistent always. And if you were just to attach the jump to the idle, instead of any state, you would have a loop going that way, sort of thing. I'm just going to try and reposition these just so it makes you feel, not makes you feel better, but sort of makes a bit more sense. So obviously, like I said, on entry, so the default state there is idle. That's the first animation we added in here. It's always good practice to make the first animation be the idle one, or be the one you want to be default, which is in most cases idle. If you're doing like a automatic 2D runner game, then your first animation would really want to be your walking or your running. So you'd want to do that one first, and that would automatically become your default one. Otherwise, you have to start removing states and adding them back in again. That's just a thing to note. So yeah, and then from idle, we want to go to our walking, and from our walking, we'll go to idle. Now we could go walking to jump and idle to jump, but we won't do that instead, because these are the only animations we're using at the moment. But even if we put in a shooting animation, now we may want to put a shooting animation to from any state, but let's say you're jumping and you don't want to be able to shoot whilst you're jumping, well then you'd only attach it to the ones that you can access it from, sort of thing. So that'd be an example to show you the other way of doing things. But anyway, so far we've linked everything up, but nothing's going to change, nothing's going to happen. So what you want to do next is over on the left hand side of your animator, I'm going to go to parameters. I'm going to click on this plus. Now you can use a float, an integer, bool, or a trigger, and I'm just going to use two bools. One bool will be for walking, one bool will be for jump, or you should say if it's on the floor. It's up to you. So usually in this sort of situation, if you want to check if you are doing something, it's sort of common practice to write is walking rather than walking. You don't have to, you can call it absolutely anything you want. So this one, let's think. So to trigger our jump, what do we want to do? Well, we'll call it is jumping, just to make it pretty obvious that we want what we want to do. So now we set these up, we can click on our idle, and the arrow to the walking animation, this one pointing towards it, go to the condition, and we'll set is walking is true. So if is walking is true, then it will start the walking animation. Now, I normally turn this off. It's called has exit time. I'll normally turn that off. On the idle, it doesn't matter because the idle is just idle. But another thing to mention would be to drag this as small as you can until basically it goes away. The reason I do that is just because when I start walking, I wanted to do it straight away. If you've got a game like a fighter game or something, and you've got some special power move, when you're using that power move, you want that animation to run all the way through before you start moving again. Because if you start moving, you're going to basically cancel the animation. So this is where the exit time will come in, where you'll set a specific time. So the animation lasts for 30 seconds. You want to do your power move and then just wait a little bit. So then you work out your little time and set your exit time. So even if you are pressing the walking button, you'll finish your move. And I'm using hand gestures as if that's going to help. But yeah, so you'll finish the move and then have a bit of a sort of a breathing time or something, and then start moving again. So that's where you mess around with the exit time. But I always try and turn it off where possible. So then back to walking to idle, the condition there is walking will be false. And then again, turning off exit time, I'm just going to drop this down to 0. What's this now? Okay, for some reason, yeah, I want to drop it all the way down to 0, you see. what this is telling me basically, it's got no exit time. No, I'm messing around with this too wrong now. Let me see. Right, okay. So yeah, I'm trying to set this now so that when I stop walking, it stops straight away. So I may need to come back here and change this around a bit. If I do, I'll explain better what it is. It's sort of like the frame and the times and when it transitions and stuff like that. We've got no exit time, so it should work just fine. Transition duration. There we go. So the duration, so how long it takes to transition back to the walking. So you can drop this down, make it like 0 point something, or you can just put it to 0, which means that it instantly stops walking, sort of thing. So like I said, we may come back here and change this afterwards, but just for now, we won't. So now from any state to jump, I'm going to go down to the conditions, and is jumping will be true. And then from the jump to the idle, we go to conditions, is jumping will be false. So no matter what, when I do a jump, I want to finish the jump, land in idle position. But if I'm walking, it'll have no exit time. It will transition to walking straight away. So this is all very well and good, but still, it won't actually do anything just yet. So what we want to do is we're going to go into our player script. So in our scripts folder, we're going to open player. And we don't need to make any new scripts just yet. I think we'll do that in part 6. Let's think. We'll do next. We're doing the animations, do some particle systems, maybe particles. So yeah, possibly around part 6 we'll start adding some more scripts, and we'll start adding like a level manager. We'll add in a way to kill the player sort of thing. We may use a placeholder for now. I've got an idea of what to use, but I don't need to start setting that up just yet. So yeah, I'm just letting mono develop load in here. Hopefully it'll load pretty soon, but yeah. So what I'm basically going to do now is I'm going to set up a private animator. We'll call it anim, just for short for animator, and we'll reference it to get component. And there we go. It's loaded. And then what we want to do is we want to set up the animator to set the bool for when we walk in, so it does it correct. But also, you may notice. In fact, I'll show you. You'll notice that the animator will not work. The animations won't work very well straight away. So anyway, let's start off with a private animator. Like I said, we'll call this anim. So inside the start function, we can do it below or above the player. It doesn't make too much difference. But I'll go underneath. So anim will equal then get component, and then, as you may have guessed it, it'll be animator. You can learn to spell. What am I doing? Don't destroy. Do not destroy. Didn't hold down the shift key. Okay. So, like I said again, we're using get component because we're referencing the player. The player script will be attached to the player. The animator will be attached to the player, so we can easily get the component animator on our player. So, first of all, then, when we walk in now, we've got the right arrow and left arrow. So, just like we did with the jump, we can set up a public void here, and we'll do that. Public void, and we'll just call it walk. And it's very simple. We're just going to go anim.setBool, and then inside some what are these called, brackets, parentheses, and then also inside some quotation marks, we're going to set the name of our bool. So just so you get this correct now, you make sure you write it exactly the same way you've written it here. So is walking. So is walking. In fact, I may have actually done this wrong now. I don't know if I need the parentheses. We'll just check that. No. Sorry about that. Yeah, I just got mixed up there. Right. So we're going to write set bool, and inside your brackets, inside some quotation marks, the name of the bool, and then the value, which is true. Sorry, I just got a completely brain melt thing there. And then so just to check that again now, debug, this should be correct. Oh. Unless you don't write is walking. No. What am I doing? I have gone completely crazy now. Just excuse me a second. Sorry about that. Just take away the equal sign, just put a comma. I'm used to just writing the bool equals this. But yeah, so this is what you want to do inside your walk function here. So void walk, then anim.setBool is walking to true. So in the right key here, you want to set you want to write walk. Sorry, I was just having a quick think. And then same for the left key here. I just realised now, so we haven't actually got a way to turn it off just yet. So if the right key's going, then you know it sets it to be true, and then the left key sets it to be true as well. So just for now, I'll leave it as that. What do I do for the jump? So inside the jump function here, so sorry, down here, we want to do basically the same thing, but you want to set the jump animation. And when the jump animation finishes, it'll jump back to is on the ground. So the way we do this, same again with anim.setBool, and inside we want to write it like this. So is jumping and then true. So every time you do the jump, it'll set it to true, but you've already got that inside your function there. But then when you're on the floor, like you've touched the ground, you are not jumping, are you? So if on the floor is true, and you want to go anim.setBool. Now, if I press play now, you'll see a little error. Because like I said, there's no way at the moment we're not turning off our walk animation. So what I'm thinking now is perhaps do an if statement in here. I'll just see if I can get this to work now. What's the symbol for or? I think it's that one. Maybe. Right, I'm just gonna try something now. So if no, it don't want to do that. I'm just trying to think of this now. I'll tell you what then. Okay, so outside the input here and outside the input here. And outside the okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try this now. So set bool inside our brackets is walking. I'm gonna set it to false. So what I'm doing here then, so if the input is the right arrow, we'll do the walking, where we set it on so it starts walking. And if it's left arrow, we'll set it on so it starts walking. If the input is get key down and it's jump, we'll do the jump function, and then also the jump and the double jump, we'll do that. So if this is wrong, if this is wrong, if this is wrong, this is wrong, then we'll set the animation to false for the walking. In theory, that should work. I feel like that's quite a crude way to do it, but we'll just jump back into Unity now. Let's see what it says. It's accepting it. I mean, ignore this, by the way, as well, the transition stuff. It's because I've just messed around and turned them down, turn them off. So I'm going to jump over now to the scene view and the game view. So like I said, you'll see an issue now, though, with the walking animation. I hope you can see it. Anyway, I'm going to have to zoom in a bit. No, I was trying to zoom in. Okay. If I zoom in on the scene view, the issue there is it's not working at all. So let me just go back to this a second now. So I've got the animation, so I'm going to go to the Animator, go to the player, make sure the Animator is on. Damn. I may have to pause this now to see what on earth I've done, because the animations are set up, is walking, so let's just see the transition now. So the condition, if the is walking is false, is that. So if it's true, it goes to that. Yeah, so set up there for the walking, the jump, and the idle. Right, okay. I'm actually a bit confused, unless I'm not. I've dragged it in, haven't I? I've dragged it in. It's in there. So make sure, let's just drag that across, make sure that's correct there. Going to apply root motion, do it. That won't work, will it? So probably make it like break now. The idle's playing. Right, okay, so what you can see now, the idle is playing, and the jump is playing, but the walking isn't. So take off that apply root motion now. Right, so it's where I've set up the walk. You see, this is good for sort of debugging here. Because if you have the animator open, you can see it's playing the idle animation, and if you jump, it's playing the jump, and then you can see the line comes out, and it goes across, but it's not accepting the walking. So, if I pause that, and go down here, let's see where I've gone wrong. So perhaps it is that one then. Let me just try this then. So if input dot get key, so what we're doing now, key code dot right arrow. I don't think this is going to work. And using that symbol there for or, I think that's a symbol for or anyway. Or left arrow. No, it's not picking it up there. It's not picked up at all. Okay, I'm just going to pause it because I'm clearly setting this up wrong. So I'm just going to pause now. So that's my bad. I've actually made a little error here. So I'm going to get rid of the whole walk function here. Well, actually, no, sorry, no. I'll keep the walk function. I'll get rid of the stuff inside it. I'm going to go back to Unity, so I can save that and just drop into Unity now. Because I'm trying to do it by Bool, but I want to change it to do it by float because I may have messed it up somewhere. Let's see if I can get rid of. There we go, delete. Get rid of the walking one. I'm going to click add and I'm going to click a float. And I'm just going to call this our speed. I'm going to set this now to 0, that's absolutely fine. For the idle to the walking, the condition on this, I'm going to go for our speed. I'm going to have it greater than 0.1. That's like the lowest we're going to go for. You could go for like 0.00001 if you wanted, but we don't need to. And then for the walking speed, we're going to have it less than 0.1. So there will be a little transition if we somehow were going at speed 0.1. There may be a little issue there, but you know we won't be doing that. So now we set that up, the condition's there. So just because like I've just jumped back in now and gone like this is it, bam bam bam, just to go through it again. So I've gone back to the animator, I've got rid of the is walking bool because I was just testing it out there, and I got it to set up again, and I changed the code a bit, and it was working for the left key but not for the right key, so I'm missing something there, and I wanted to try and stick to doing the bools, but you know, I don't know what I've missed, so I've changed it now. I'm going to do it the float way. So I've added a different parameter, and it's a float, and we've called it speed, and it's 0, 0. And then change the conditions from the idle to the walking. So the jump still works, the jump's fine. Any state and all this, that's absolutely fine. So now I want to go back into here. So in my walk function, whether we're going this way or this way, you see, right arrow or left arrow. You got to consider what we're going to do first. We're going to get the rigid body velocity here. So what did we get here now? Yeah, so we call the player. The player is our rigid body. That's absolutely fine. So we're going to get our player's velocity on the x, so not the y, on the x. And what's it called? We're gonna return that now, that value, to our animator. So if it is less than 0.1, so if we're not moving, it'll move back to being idle. But if we are moving, it will go. Well, it will play the animation. Now the only problem with that is the left arrow. So going on a minus speed, our velocity will be minus. So rather than now throw minus numbers at our float, because anything going minus is less than 0.1. So what we'll do as well, we'll use a mathematical function called ABS, which gives us the absolute value. So that'll be, if we're at -1, it'll give us 1, sort of thing. So to write this out, let's just say that I've got this right now. So similar to the bool, we're going to go anim.setFloat and open some brackets. Inside there, do some speech, and we're going to go for speed. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go for player dot velocity dot x there. So this is what we need to do. But I'm going to just encase this now with some more brackets. I'm going to go mathf dot abs. And it doesn't seem to like that for some reason. Why is it not like that? Have I done this wrong again? What are you not liking? Wow, it was tricking me. Right, no, it's fine. It does like it. I didn't put the semicolon, but I thought it didn't like it there. But okay. So yeah, what this does then is we're setting the float there that we said if it's greater than 0.1, it'll do the animation. If it's less than, it'll play the idle. So we're taking our speed float. That's what we just called it. And we're doing the math function of ABS, which gives us the absolute value of our player.velocity.x. So the velocity, when we say player, we're referencing the rigid body here as well. So Control S, drop back to Unity, and now it should work fine. Like I said, I wanted to stick to just bools, but I seem to be missing a point somewhere, so I'm going to revisit that at some point. I'm going to click on play, so keep the animator window open. And you see the idle animation will just like buzz across. Press right, and we'll press left. Wait a minute now, we're not actually walking anymore. Why are we not walking? This is not fun at all. And now we just okay. So perhaps calling this function is not good. So perhaps I'll get rid of the function then. And just call it up here as it is. So I'll just like that's fine. Let's see if we're going to try this then. It's going to do my head in this, I don't know why. It was so easy in my head before when I was thinking of it. I was like, right, I just need to do this, do that, and that's that. What is going on here now? Our double jump is working. But our rigid body speed. We seem to have lost our movement now. Let me just think of what it is I'm trying to do here. So, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay. I'm just going to save this. That should take away any walking stuff here. So the jumping is there, that's fine. The jumping is there, it's just fine, yeah. Jump back to Unity. I don't understand why we're not walking now. I don't understand this at all. I can see quite a bit of editing going on to this video. So we're going to now click play. It'll jump, but it won't move. Unless it's something I've done over it now. Let's have a quick check of our... What's it medieval? Pirate motion. Okay, turn that off. My bad. Maybe that's what it is. Ah, there we go. Okay. So I turned on apply root motion before checking something. So go back over here now, back into the script, turn this back out, turn this back out. So I'm pretty sure it would work with that walking function now, rather than having to do that. It's because I turned apply root motion on and I shouldn't have done. So let it come back in. I'm going to click play. I may not edit this out then, because you know it might be annoying for some people. I mean, it might be annoying for some people that watch a tutorial and the guys are like, I don't know what's happening. People do make mistakes. I'm not new to Unity, I just make loads of mistakes and it's doing my head in. So one last time now. There we go, we can walk and we can jump. This is where we'll configure our movement speed and stuff like that. If I say, why does our speed not stop? See, that's still an error then, isn't it? Because we've stopped walking now. Okay. Right. I may leave this here. Just 'cause it's running on a bit now. I will edit some bits out and cut a little bit out, but I'm going to make sure the relevant speaking bits are still there. So, that's how you set up the animations. The walking animation is, to put it frankly, it's being a bit of a dick. So unless I can quickly work this out now. That's the fixed up bit for the floor, that's fine. So it's the movement here. So the movement speed, like player.velocity. But why does the speed not decrease when we're done? Alright, I'm not too sure, but I don't want to keep stopping and going and stopping and going. It's absolutely doing me head in. What is this at the top? I've got a warning, the key combination control and D, control and S is not. I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, so that's how you set up the animation there. Unless I can quickly think of a solution, I'm just going to stop the video, which I'm probably going to do because I can't think of a solution here. Play.velocity.x, so that becomes the movement speed. We don't reset the velocity, do we? No, it can't be it. Oh, wait a minute, sorry. So we set the player.velocity, so the rigid body.velocity here, to the new vector 2 of the movement speed, and then we set the animation, don't we? So let me just try this now. I'm just going to cut this out, put it before we set the velocity. Oh wait, what? Sorry. And same for this one. Just put it before we set the velocity like that, because then we can get the proper velocity of the rigid body, I think. Okay, so let that load back in now. No. Oh, there we go. Well, something's going on with the velocity, so we'll edit that with the speed. But it actually does stop now. But the velocity needs to update, so maybe I'm just missing a line of code that I'm not thinking of right now. I'll do some editing on this. As you can see, it's moonwalking a bit. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take a little break. Make sure I get the line of code working properly. I'll edit some bits out of this video. Apart from this part where I'm editing some bits. So it does look like some little bits are skipping. I'm not going to edit out important pieces of information. I'm going to watch it again and go through it all. It's good. There will be a second part to this video, because if you take note and you're walking left, you're basically moonwalking. I know you're an astronaut, but it doesn't look good. So what I want to do with that is change the transform of the local scale. It's not enough to do in one video, but because I want to also fix the velocity, because the velocity is getting stuck on the 2. I'm pretty sure I just need to re-reference it or something. So yeah, I'm going to change the referencing or something in the next video. I may grab the player object a different way, and then the rigid body is completely unique. I'm going to try it that way. Okay. So yeah, that's basically how to set up the animations. I know it didn't go exactly to plan, but yeah, just give the video a thumbs up anyway, because you know I'm going to need all the positive energy as possible. The second part of the video will be up by the time, well, will be up anyway, because I'm going to be recording quite a few today. So yeah, that's it for this one. Click on the subscribe. Make sure you go and watch the next video for, like I said, the second part. And that's it really, so I'll see you in the next part.